Hey, Shalom, this is part two. Part one got cut off for some reason. All praises to Yahweh Shem, Shadow Wan, said Apostles to Elder Great Millstone. Shalom to you, Akim, and Akwaf worldwide. But back to it, because this movie basically it brings out, well, it's a scene, I can't show it, but it's a scene which actually shows, as you can see, Jake comes back to Vietnam and meets up with a woman he used to deal with, and boom, of course, there's her daughter. And as you can see, she's got some of the appearances of a so-called Vietnamese woman, whether it be Ammon or Moab. I believe the Vietnamese, I believe those are Ammonites, but hey, basically the point being, she's Jake. You can see that she's got features, but you can clearly see by the hair, by the style, even by the way she's standing, that's a so-called Israelite woman. You know what I'm saying? And he's which, in real life, she probably has the same thing. Her father's probably a so-called Jake, and then the mother's probably a woman of another nation. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like the Naomi Osaka chick who's good at tennis. Her father is so-called Jake. All right, so they actually show that too. And let's see, did I bring this out? Yep, that's what Isaiah 11 and 12, because this is what's going to go on as well. Because our people are basically going crazy in the streets. They're looking for justice. They're looking for answers. Look, when it comes to Esau, he's not going to give you any justice. He's not going to give you any answers. We're not in the streets just calling people a devil for no reason. Okay, the word devil means deceiver. He's going to deceive you. The scriptures talk about he deceived the nations. All right, he's deceived the whole earth. He's lied. He's went into people's country, changed shit around, changed records around, according to evil. Now, according to Isaiah 2, when Israel's ruling over the other nations, and they're going to have to come and follow the law, and they're going to have to, be servants unto us, we're going to do it under righteousness. All right. This is Isaiah 11 and 10, because this is the house that we're building. Israel seeks a country. Israel wants a nation. They want us to be strong, but as we can see by the protests, just look at the shit they got going on. You got people coming any old way. Okay, you got street niggas lurking and trying to rob, loot, and steal. Okay, you got people, you got, LGBT, all of the letters, you got them amongst it. All right, of course, you got the Israelite woman twerking. There it is, soldiers with live rounds and rubber bullets and pepper spray, and that they don't even use. That's actually illegal for, not pepper spray, but what is it called? Tear gas, which is illegal in warfare. But you got all that madness and shit going on, twerking and shit. Just goes to show you the state of our nation, man. We got women on the front line showing their ass, and Esau's about to come down like a roaring lion. All right, with seriousness. That's why this is serious business. This isn't a place for, 2/3. This is a place for people who are serious about it and they want to become a part of the elect. This isn't a hangout spot. This isn't somewhere where you can come and talk shit in the comment section. This is for real, for real. You know what I'm saying? We're really building something and not just talking about it. Right? It's all happening in a spiritual sense. You got brothers waking up worldwide. If you look up Great Millstone, you go to different countries. It's starting to be more than likely in that particular country, which is full of our people, that you got to camp there. Okay, in the Western Hemisphere, Eastern Hemisphere, Caribbean, North America, Mexico, Europe, all of that. Shit, Australia. So it is happening through the Spirit. This is Isaiah 11 and 10. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, and from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. And just like a brother was bringing it out the other day, how many islands of the sea is it? Thousands. Whole bunch of islands, whole bunch of places. You know, from Fiji, you know, the Virgin Islands, all the way over to, what's that called? The Polynesian Islands, all the way to, you know, over by Australia and New Zealand, all the way over there. Many islands where Jake is at. And they don't even know it. It said, he shall set up an ensign for the nations and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. Right? So, hey, the entirety of Israel is going to get along, because Ephraim is the head tribe of the northern kingdom. Judah, of course, the head tribe of the southern kingdom. Right? And not just Judah either, which is dispersed to the four corners of earth. It's also, you know, you got the other tribes too, you know, because every tribe likes to spread its seed. You know, especially during what was going on, you know, during the Vietnam War. All right, now check this out. This is something that they brought out in the movie as well. They said what? As the fighting dragged on, which, you know, Esau's dirty, man. Whenever they, what does it say? He'll seek to please the poor. They're only bringing out this information because they're being exposed, and they have to try to counter-release information and try to make people think they're like, well, you know, at least they are putting out some of the truth. You know what I'm saying? If they don't bring out anything and people keep making accusations and bringing out evidence and bringing out, it makes them look like they're hiding something. Versus if they kind of bring things out slowly and reveal things slowly, then they can try to say, you know, well, we did bring out certain information, because there's so many ugly truths to how they did things. All right, the entire war was bullshit. It was completely racist. Let me let the SPAC speak though. It says African Americans were being disproportionately affected by the war. Robert McNamara's project 100,000, implemented in 1966, pulled hundreds of thousands of poor men into the war. 40% of these hundreds of thousands of them African American. By the following year, black soldiers made up 16.3% of those drafted, and 23% Slovakia Vietnam combat troops, despite accounted for only roughly 11% of the civilian population. All right, and again, like we said before, a lot of these people you perceive as African Americans, you know, I've met many brothers that are Native American, they're Gadites, Reubenites, different tribes, Asherites, okay, Zebulonites, all shit. Hey, if you're kind of in that light skin range, you can pass for any of the tribes. You know, you can kind of say that you're anything. All right, but there you go. So this information is coming out. All right, what Esau was doing. And then when they got back home in the 60s, what did they have to deal with? They had to deal with still Esau being racist. Esau. So what's the point of all that? You know what I'm saying? Because Jake will tell you the story if you ask him, what's the point of that shit? The point is this. Psalms 1:1. It says, blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. Exactly. And that's the case with us, man. We're not walking in making America great again. We're not walking in pull yourself up by your bootstraps to impress Esau. All right, because no matter how, we can see that, no matter how hard you work, how much work you've done, shit, we did a couple of 100 years of labor putting in the foundation, and that's all the tribes, okay, because Esau utilized the land, the resources, and the manpower of all the tribes of Israel, you know what I'm saying, from Judah here in the States, who was working in the fields, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, but mostly Judah, okay, from the northern kingdom. You know, you got the what is it called, the banana wars. You had wars over fucking bananas because they were making so much money on bananas. You know, bananas was selling so much, they had wars over that shit. All right, and that's just two examples. You know what I'm saying? We can go and look at the the chocolate business, multi-million-dollar, probably billion-dollar industry, because they take the cocoa beans, which are in South America. You know, you got cocoa butter, you got chocolate, you got all the different products that it goes into. So, you know, this man, he has to pay. But again, that was the blessing that Esau was given. Esau was given a certain blessing. He was given the blessing of that sword. He was given the blessing of the fatness of the land. All right, but what he didn't understand was that would be for a while, and then his brother Jacob would take over. It says what? This is when MLK was assassinated. Things fell apart rapidly. Harry Humphreys, a veteran who served as a military advisor, recalls fights between black and white soldiers broke out. A military prison where more than 50% of the incarcerated men were black. Prisoners overthrew the guards and destroyed many of the buildings. In 1970, the Marine Corps alone reported 1,060 violent racial incidents. So even when we were fighting against another nation in another place, you had Jake and Esau going at it. All right, and that's just what it's going to always be, man, until, you know, until the Most High has it, where Jacob rises up, grabs that heel, and brings Esau down. That's just what it's going to be. Even in the war against another nation, you got Jacob trying to fight against Esau, because we know how Esau is. He wants you to serve, but he wants you to be a slave, and he wants to take everything from you. And that's the big bulk of that. Because this man is completely unscriptural. It says what? On November 11th, 1942, Congress approves lowering the draft age to 18 and raising it to 37. Well, let's see what the law says on that. Numbers 1 and 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai in the tabernacle of the congregation on the first day of the second month. On the first day of the second month, in the second year after they will come out of the land of Egypt, saying, Take ye the sum of all the congregation of the children of Israel after their families, by the house of their fathers, with the number of their names, every male by their polls. It says, from 20 years old and upward, all that are able to go forth to war in Israel. So from 20 years old, you're supposed to be 20. All right, and I believe later on it's going to tell you if you were married, you could hang back. Where does it say that? It's going to go through the numbers. That's why it's called numbers of this tribe, of that tribe. That's another part, but you can look it up. But basically, there's the point. So according to the scriptures, before you go to war, you're supposed to be 20 years old. All right? And even at that age, too, by the way, this again proves what we've been saying. In the ancient world, you would get married at a younger age. So when you were 20, even before going to war, you would most likely already have a child. That way, if you died, your child, you know, hopefully a son, even with that, your son would carry on your family name and the family legacy, and then you know, it wouldn't bring confusion into your house, because now you die, you don't have a son, he doesn't receive, you know, your inheritance. You know, now, you know, your woman and your family have to go before the high priest, and they have to try to, you know, get what you have and distribute it up and all that stuff. And you know, after a death, you know how that goes. It's always confusion and chaos. All right, but that's basically the point on that. So, yep. And another thing what Esau doesn't mention that they do, you know, because I've actually spoken to Edomites. Basically, they were telling me, you know, hey, basically they told me they had a number so high that they knew that they would not get drafted. That they knew that. All right, this movie kind of gives a hint to that, but they don't show the full number. Which, Lord willing, you know, it does come out, but if it doesn't, we'll know in the kingdom. So, and another thing too, if you say if your children, I might have mentioned that already. If your children went to college, then they would be exempt from having to serve in the draft. So the upper crust of Esau, they sent their children to college. That's where all that college and stuff comes from, which they could afford to do that. You know, they had the connections to do that. And then, you know, Jake on the lower levels, you know, they couldn't. And to this day, when you want to get certain jobs, that might be all jobs. You have to sign up with the selective services, you know. So if they have a draft, boom, they want to take you, you know, along according to their law. All right. It says, let's see, no, that was it on that. See, I have one more precept. Hey, because this man, what this man is doing, man, is coming out. You know, and whatever reason, you know, maybe these people bringing it out or releasing information, they want things to change, so they're releasing certain information to appease the poor. Whatever reason, hey, it's all the Most High. It said, 2 Chronicles 7:14, if my people, again the Israelites, which are called by my name, it's only one name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. Exactly. Exactly. And that's exactly the thing that we preach. It says, yeah, this is what Abraham, going back in Genesis, this is what he saw. His people, this is what was told to him. All right, that he would be made into a great nation. Genesis 12:2. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And to this day, his name is reverenced. Okay, not even just amongst Christians, but I believe he's mentioned, you know, by Ishmael too, which he is one of the sons of Ishmael, but the chosen son was Isaac. Put it like that. Chosen son was Isaac. That's it. That's it on that. You know, Lord willing, it's edifying. But I just thought it was interesting. All this data is coming out, and when you do more studies on all of these data points and all this stuff, you know, like I said, man, that information has been covered up greatly. You know, you right click on it. Let me see. And this shows the curses that were put on Jacob. Look at that. I think I might have read it before. It said originally built to house 400 inmates. And these are soldiers, mind you. These are soldiers. Originally built to house 400 inmates. LBJ was crammed into 1,719 men. So he was in that packed. Black soldiers were greatly overrepresented, despite representing 11% of the troops, which, you know, this other fact, it's a little different. It says 16.3, so again, that percentage is probably more than that. It said 50% of the men incarcerated, soldiers who were incarcerated at the stockade, were black. There you go. Many black soldiers felt they were more severely punished than white soldiers for similar offenses, and of course they were. Alright? So our people can run, they can hide, they can try to pretend, you know, and try to march next to Esau, no justice, no peace. You know, Esau, he'll put on Black Lives Matter. He'll put that shit right on and march right next to you. But his grandparents, they and his uncles, they told him the stories about all of this shit. You know, they told him about how they did Jake. They told him about all this. A lot of these Edomites, you know, our people try to explain details in history. Man, these Edomites know more than you. All right, what the scriptures say, thou art wiser than Daniel. These Edomites know more than you about your history. All right, because a lot of this stuff has been lost, or Jake just wasn't paying attention, or, you know, the records were sealed up. You got a lot of that stuff too, man. The FBI has a lot of records that they seal up, and they won't show you, because they don't want to show you the atrocities that were happening to you. All right. Hey, and that's basically it, man. Lord willing, it's edifying. You know, if you can see the movie, pretty good. You know, shows you what Jake had to go through. You know, out there fighting in a jungle against, you know, people that were not even, which the Gawayim, you know, again, they are our enemies, but this was all done by Esau to expand his empire. All right, so all praise to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shabbat Shem Kagadash. Hey, to understand anything, the scriptures have to come out. They have to. All right, the understanding of the scripture has to come out, just like we read Psalms 1. All right, Shalom.